Hello, Mr. Biter here with a lesson on chemical formulas. And chemical formulas are a way to write compounds. Now, compounds are things that have more than one element put together chemically. They are combined by chemical bonds. Here is sodium chloride, NaCl, and it is made up of elements. Two elements in particular. In this case, we have the Na is sodium, and if you ever don't know what an element is, you can always look up its symbol on the periodic table. We also have chlorine, the Cl, and that is a cursive L that I put in there after the capital C. Remember, a capital letter represents an element, and with our chemical formula, we know the number of atoms. So if we look here, if there is no number indicated after the element, it means there is one of them. So there is one sodium and there is one chlorine, and therefore we have a total of two atoms, one atom of sodium, one of chlorine. Now let's look at another situation. H2O, good old water. And water has two different elements. One of those elements is hydrogen. That H represents the hydrogen and the O represents oxygen. We can write down both those, look them up on the periodic table, and we can figure out what they are. And it's important that we always write these correctly so that other people know what we're writing about. So this chemical formula, we have an H's, we have an O. Now let's look at the number of atoms of each of them. In this case, we have H2O. That means there is a number after the H, a number 2. It's a subscript. That means we have 2 hydrogens. There's no number after the O, so that means there is a 1. That means we have 1 oxygen, and that gives us a total number of 3 atoms in H2O. 2 of hydrogen, 1 of oxygen. Another situation now, we have a compound, H2SO4, sulfuric acid. And we look at this, we know that there are now 3 elements here, 3 capital letters. So we have these elements, we can look up those symbols on the periodic table if we need to. And we should know by now that the H is hydrogen. You'll know this by the end of the school year for sure. We also know that the S represents sulfur. And if it's ever spelled with a PH, that means it's a British periodic table. O, oxygen. Excellent, 3 elements in 1 compound. Let's count up the number of atoms of each of them. Okay, let's start off by looking at the H. The H over here has a subscript 2 after. That means there are 2 hydrogen atoms in this compound. There is a 1 after there, so that's a 1 sulfur, and there are 4 oxygens. So we add these up and we get a total of 7 atoms in 1 compound